Velázquez also famously paints Las Meninas, a massive canvas that originally hung in Philip IV's personal office. And it's a very interesting piece, a very interesting composition, and a lot of complicated ideas are going into it. Now, in the piece, we see the Princess Margarita, and we see a lot of different things taking place. For example, here's the princess, then we have her assistants. Now, we see a young girl with her, but then we see someone who appears to be of particularly short stature. This would be an adult who happens to suffer from dwarfism, and they would be used in the court to be more relatable to the princess, but still give adult oversight. We will also see, for example, Velázquez in the corner. It's very odd because he's depicted himself with the princess. This is a power play. This is an attempt to attach himself to the royal family, even though he has a very specific role as court painter and chamberlain. If we look in the background, you'll notice these two paintings. While they're dark and difficult to see, they're actually paintings by Peter Paul Rubens. This is Velázquez trying to honor one of the artists that he looks up to a great deal. And we see a mirror. And that mirror depicts the king and queen. So, very interesting elements. When we look closer, you can see them, and it's almost as if they've shown up at a door and they're looking in at the scene. Everyone has suddenly come to attention because the king and queen are in attendance. We also see the queen's chamberlain. Now, the thing is, this gentleman, Don Jose, is going to be sort of a personal enemy of Velázquez. So Velázquez paints him walking away from the scene, almost ignoring the king and queen coming in. They were at odds because Diego Velázquez and Don Jose both wanted to be the court chamberlain, the person who acts as gatekeeper to the king, a much more powerful position than gatekeeper for the queen or keeper of the keys. Now, in terms of composition, things get really complicated because as you look at, you have the king and queen presumably standing behind the viewer or just off to the side of the viewer. And they are reflected in the mirror. So they're probably standing somewhere right in the middle. They're reflected. Here's Velázquez. Presumably Las Meninas is the painting he's creating right here, which creates this very odd situation. And then you have the members of the court. You have these two figures. You have the Rubens paintings in the background, all depicted. And the problem is, where are the king and queen and where is the viewer? That's always been an issue with this painting. How is that composition working? It's something that art historians have argued over for many years. But when we look at the piece, the overall message is not simply a depiction of the royal family in a very creative way, but the intention here is really to tie Velázquez to the royal family, to set up a legacy. And after all, it kind of worked, didn't it? Because we're talking about it now. We talk about Velázquez as the court painter, Velázquez as close to the royal family. And it's no accident. We're doing this in part because of paintings like Las Meninas.